freewheeling cavalcade of circular motion, thus defined by the octagon table of double-wide mental introspection and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing. Oh, hey folks, dude here. Coming yet again, another edition of Dude After Dark, and of course, usual fun stuff of which we find ourselves. There is many interesting news stories, and that's putting it mildly. Um, I just got to go back into the depths of all my gathered stuff, but oh my stars and garters, it has gotten to be a very very interesting news week. Let me tell you something. Of course, we're on the last day before we go into March. I don't know what the heck actually means. Me, playing games and whatnot. But I shall and maybe endeavor to carry on and move out smartly and all the rest of that fun stuff. I have got so many memes on my Facebook timeline right now. I got to go through all this crap to find the actual news content because I kind of want just a little bit fun on that one. And so essentially what it finds ourselves at is I need to really go scrambling through this yet again to find out actually what I'm trying to insinuate, insert, and utilize. So scroll. Oh, okay. First, the first meme that's actually something arable, might I say. So essentially what I do is, actually bring it out from the ethers, put it onto here where people are going to go, hey, he probably shouldn't have said that with, grandma in the room and, the kids and mom and all the rest of that happy horse stuff. So this one is actually clean, and I do mean moderately clean enough that I could actually get away with it. I happen to be worrying about something's just going to be just okay, okay, sound guy, you actually got that one. Yeah, yes, you're gonna have to ding. That was actually
yippee-ki-yay, mother.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother kabloo ding. Sure, okay, sure, whatever. All right, so anyway, sound guy, stop. Okay, you're knocking at the door of being somewhat. You're fine, okay? That was actually all right. That ding was allowable. Don't do a second ding. That might just be gratuitous. Sound.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
Down, guys. Really, stop. He's in a mood, folks. Anyway, so the meme I came up with, me being a smartass, I said essentially I identify as a tactical holster, but you cannot have a tactical holster. That's why I own firearms. Oh man. So anyway, Martinez Sasquatch in the room. Appreciate you hanging out with me, and of course Barry K. Sean catching me live 5x5. Good stuff like that. There, always a good time when you guys are actually hanging out with me. Got a couple other people hanging on the wayside. If you want to come into the chat room, cool. If not, I will not hold it against you in any way, shape, or form. If you are an active participant, no problem at all. It is better be an athletic supporter rather than an athletic support. Never mind. Anyway, so scrolly. Let's see what else we got going on in the gathering folderol, as it were. I did find this really, really interesting. And there's an actual Facebook group that I'm part of. And man, I got to tell you what, these guys, if nothing else for information gathering on the way that you really, really want to do stuff correctly, these guys really, truly nail it. Like, case in point, what's going on with all the kerfuffle going on now. Like, the guy is really leading very libertarian aspect style of government, like, removing overtures of too much government control, streamlining operation, making things so essentially that you're not like spending like crazy and running your country further in the extreme deaditude. I'm talking about Milei, I think his name is, the gentleman that actually is the president now of Argentina. But the group that I'm part of in Facebook is called Libertarians, diligently plotting to take over the world and leave you alone. great site. But anyway, so what they're going on now is they're saying in this one, this is like, one of the better memes I saw was if the Republicans and Democrats wanted to balance budget, they could do so, but they don't. Why? Turns out special interests, corruption, and miles of bureaucracy are incredibly expensive. The only way out is a libertarian revolution. Don't tell me it can't be done. What Javier has done in Argentina over the last couple of months should give us all a jolt of energy and hope freedom is on the horizon. Now, I've had good conversations, obviously online and off, and I've said, essentially, yes, obviously, Trump is running as a Republican. However, I'm sure he's made no friends on both sides of the aisle because he has a lot of libertarian aspirations in the way that he does stuff. For the first term that he was in, and I'm saying first speaker being obnoxious, first term that he was in, he was very libertarian in a couple aspects. We were not, hang on a second. Sorry about that. This speaker is probably not long for the world. It's being annoying. So anyway, way, shape, or form in which we find ourselves, the libertarian aspects of Donald Trump in his first term, and obviously there's going to be a break in between with Joe Kaka doing stuff. But anyway, very libertarian in certain aspects. Though there was a means of seeking to find more representation for the everyman. There was a reduction in government. There was expenditures that were seen as specious, arbitrary, and completely contradictory to the Constitution and any way, shape they're in of any form of construction of the process. It was seen as too much government overture. Now, in the process of him reducing these things, obviously they completely hang on a second here. So I got this one. So in the overtures of doing these things, the opposing side, shall we say, of which there is Democrats, Republicans, and independents, they completely lost their, it could be said that they lost their big time. They completely lost their stuff. It was not even sound guy. Sound guy. Sound guy. Sound guy. I think they got it. Are you done?
Fatality.
Okay, that was almost funny. Anyway, so essentially, the grand overtures of too many controlling functions therein of the federal government, Trump said, I'm going to rein this stuff in, and did. There was actually the tax break that we're now currently somewhat enjoying, even though that we now have ridiculous inflation taking place, because obviously we have the Fed playing it against the federal government, the federal government playing it against the Fed, who's then playing it off the plutocrats and what have you. I did find it really, really interesting, though. One of the really, really mega money guys was complaining about the fact and bemoaning the fact that they're only worth $172 billion. I think it was Buffett or one of those guys going, hey, there's no more good deals to be had. Life is so hard because I can't further expand my financial fortunes. It might be part of the problem is that maybe like 0.5%, not even 0.5% of the world population comprises like 60 to 70% of the world's wealth. That might be part of the problem. When you have somebody that's worth that much money, how much more money do they actually need? I mean, when you get to a certain point, you have this self-elevated, self-aggrandized arrogance where you're just going, well, I'm now superior. I can tell these lesser underlings how they should be living their lives and how everything should be comprised therein. And if things really go, boobs up, as it were, I'm going to go in my bunker and watch it all go kablooey on the horizon. So there is other sides to that too. And I think it's really, truly hilarious. Excuse me. I got the latest iteration of the Pepsi throwback, which now has gone from a straight blue can to this red, white, and blue thing. And now they're saying, ooh, it's the soda shop. But they're really specifically stating it made with sugar. So I'm going to crack this off. I've had a couple of these. It's, It's Pepsi throwback. There's nothing great. There's nothing amazing about it. It is basically the same poop. However, I can tell you for a fact, the construction on the cans. Why does it seem every time that I buy a sleeve of soda, which is really not very currently, like I'm buying one every week and I'm pounding them down like candy. It seems like the construction of the cans gets thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner until finally you reach a point where they're like almost fragile. I mean, these things are like so squishy right now. I remember back, like, in my youth when aluminum cans started to become a thing, they were pretty stout. You actually could almost like stand a car on them with like, no soda in them. Now it's like you barely have any give at all. I'm sure the sheet metal construction on these things is like absolutely as minimal as possible because obviously if you shave some off of this, you get to make more and you have shrinkflation taking place. Well, there's still 12 ounces, but the can construction is a friggin' joke. Excuse me a second here. I'll commend it to you, Tops Companions. Same thing can be said for some water bottles. These are Wellesley Farms. So that's basically the BJ's brand. These are actually pretty stout. They're not bad. The caps are a little but I've noticed like some of these water bottle brands, you pick the things up and they're just like you barely open it and you're barely holding it. You're like almost like Hulk, like trying to hold on to like Gossamer. It's like they're so lightly constructed. You could just go and you're just like spraying water into the ceiling fan. And I don't have that kind of hand strength, but with that kind of weak ass construction, almost. All right. So going back to the thing of which I was saying, essentially these guys are now so overtured with their own hubris, shall we say, that they now are self-aggrandizing, arrogantly stating that they know how to do everything else for, end run population. We know better than you. That's probably why they wish to have us like eating bugs and all the rest of that stupid, online meme-worthy kind of social statement. I just think it's funny when they, say this stuff. Oh yeah, they're trying to make you eat bugs, dude. Don't eat bugs, okay? That's easy to fix, okay? So anyway. Like I said, there was that one YouTube channel I do tend to follow called TBN Israel. So I read Tango Bravo November Israel. So TBN November, and they do a day-to-day, man on the street, literally man on the street in Gaza areas or in Israel, and he does a daily reporting on the statement of affairs. Well, let's just say that there's a simmering undertone right now that Hamas is probably not real happy about. Yes. Hamas is now having issues because they just pissed off their own guys to the nth degree that it's now starting to become infighting. Now, I'm sure there's probably like, the whole Shia and Sunni thing, which has been, forever since Christ was a cadet. These two Muslim groups, among other guys in the Muslim Brotherhood, have probably been pissing and moaning about each other's, this, that, and the other thing. And we want you to blah, blah, blah. And don't fight like this. And, I own this and you own that. And this is mine and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to duke it over and da, 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 da. Kind of like the whole tribal thing going on in Time and Eternal in Afghanistan, where we stuck our nose in. And it was like the Hatfields. I usually state it like this. Afghanistan was essentially the Hatfields and the McCoys. So you have these two warring guys going at each other. They've been duking each other out, forever, piss and moan, shoot you, shoot them, shoot this, shoot that, kill this person, kill that person. Oh, I need to get revenge because you killed my blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm going to kill your blah, blah, blah. Well, you just killed my blah, blah, blah. So they go back and forth, 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 back and forth for thousands of years, mind you. And then, of course, we show up and then they go, hey, wait a minute. Who are these guys? These guys don't belong here. And they go, you know what? We're going to put our celebratory kill each other for a while. And we're going to try to basically kill these new guys. That's essentially what happened in Afghanistan. Let's see. Look at the room. Oh, Patriot Fever. Appreciate it coming on, dude. Patriot Fever, Little Patriot 4 reporting from the knife bench. Oh, that's always good. What's good in the anarchy and knife throwing? Got to be ready if you know what I mean. Well, that would be okay. I'm gonna keep that to the side, and I'll keep myself a handy reminder so I know to talk about the cutlery. All right, so that's there in front of me. You've heard it fall. Okay, so officially, that is the official. Don't lose track of what you're talking about later. You know, mental visual cue. Okay. So essentially, you basically got Afghanistan pissing and moaning, going in. New guys, let's take them out. So everybody drops what they're doing and they go after the new guys. Well, what's going on here is Gaza protests are now erupting against Hamas, and Hezbollah pressures Hamas to drop demands. Also, it's now coming out that essentially there's going to be a slight issue because, oh yeah, potentially they're about to lose Rafah. Now, if you know the geography of Gaza, okay, Gaza is this little teardrop shaped piece of land to the west of Israel, from the river to the sea, all the rest of this crap. Anyway, so it's a little piece of land. Now, you got to remember the geography and the sheer size of things. Israel is roughly the size of New Jersey, okay? It's a long, skinny stretch of land, and landmass land area comprises roughly about the size of New Jersey. Not a huge place. So anything along the lines like, how many people in Israel? Well, it's not a small population. I mean, it's like 5 or 6 million people. But then you go, okay, well, how many people are in Gaza? And you go, oh, there's like 2 or 3 million people in there. What's the size of that area? It's about the size of Washington, D.C. Now, with no traffic, I can drive through Washington, D.C. from one end to the other. And of course, if there was no light cameras or any other stuff and I was just driving, it's about 30 minutes. Because there's red light cameras everywhere, and now it's a mandated speed limit of 25 miles an hour, or you will get gigged by the red light cameras and the speed cameras, and everybody else is like, shining cameras all over the flipping place. You just don't speed in DC. Trust me on this one, okay? Last time I drove there was about 3 days ago, and it's the same. It's the flipping same, man. About 3 days ago, driving around DC, and yes, you cannot haul balls in DC. Trust me on that one. You may not speed in Washington, D.C., or you will get a little thing in the mail saying you owe us north of $130 or $140. Why? Because that's just the way they're working. It's like a third world nation. So even try to go to court and fight that one, not a good time. So anyway, so basically it's now come out to be that Hamas has got some problems. And Rafah is this little area that is in the south. Well, 2 million people are like, all this fighting in the north, run. So they've all gathered in the south, okay? Now, let's just put this in perspective. No matter how much the mainstream press and no matter how much, all the, the anti-Zionist factions of, the progressive agenda types or any of those other screaming memeites in the United States, they will state most clearly, oh, yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu, yeah, he's just a dick. Well, no, he's not a dick, okay? He's a strong leader that doesn't take Bravo Sierra from people because, oh, yeah, he's a former high-ranking military guy that knows which end of the tube the round comes out, okay? He knows how to fight wars. He knows how to do things. Oh, yeah, he's also now a professional politician. So he's been on both sides of the aisle, folks. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to do it. He knows how to get there. So they're now trying to demonize him, and they're trying to state all this other stuff about, oh yeah, well he's just trying to go in there and kill Palestinians. I got really, really bad news for those screaming memeites trying to lay out that load of crap. If the Jews really, 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 really wanted to clean out Gaza, and they wanted to do it like, oh, I don't know, let's just say about as effectively as like the SS troopers of World War II. Let's just say there'd be nothing left standing in Gaza, and the place would have been bombed flat unceremoniously, starting from the north and working their way south until it was nothing but dead and bodied, dismembered people all over the place. The Jewish state has had the most restricted form of combat I have ever seen in my life. So much so that they actually give a heads up with like, oh, I don't know, like what they call a knock round. They'll literally drop a lesser munition on the roof of a building and it goes boom. And then 30 seconds later, they flatten the building. They will call, they will text, they will email, they'll post stuff up on Facebook and any place else they possibly can saying, look, there's an assault coming. If you're not one of these guys and you don't want to be one of those guys, get out of the way because we're going to come in and we're about to clean house. They have the most restrained form of combat I have ever seen in my life. The way, shape, and form in which the Israelis fight is like, okay, we're gonna come in here, we're gonna basically blast the place all to hell. Oh, anybody that's not fighting, you might want to leave now, please. And they give them time to walk out, get out of there safely and whatnot, and then they proceed to flatten the hell out of the place. I mean, that's just how they fight. However, the way that they state things in the standard news is they're going, oh yeah, well it's the free Palestine because there's this this genocide going on. It's the Jewish state trying to kill all the Arabs. Dude, if that's the case, they're doing a really, really bad job at it. Trust me, because if Israel wanted to really, really flatten the place, it would be a glowing cinder right about now, and the Israelis would have been going, job finished. Yeah, they are the most restrained, possibly, of any fighting force I have ever seen in my life. So for somebody to lose the equivalent for us to lose 40,000 people in one day. Patriot Fever. The IDF took Ding Dong Ditch to the next level. That's top notch, man. I like that. So anyway, that is absolutely hilarious. Now, here's another news story that basically kind of dovetails a little bit with it. But Google has got a slight problem. Yeah, Google fatality. Yeah, it could be said that. Thanks, sound guy. So Google programmed their Gemini AI program with the 1.5 update, and it went woke. And I do mean really, really woke. Okay. So it allows users to ask questions. The update, unfortunately, incorporates the Marxist ideology of, quote, diversity, equity, and inclusion, end quote. A doctrine that seeks to impose uniformity of thought under the guise of promoting differences. Users have quickly noticed that Gemini AI is fixated on skin color, sex and gender, and sexuality. It also avoids depicting white people, particularly white men. The Not the B blog did a full breakdown of examples and compared the results to Gab AI's image generator. So here's what they literally punched in there. And they said, hey, click, depict a white scientist. And it said, while I understand your interest in seeing depictions of scientists from various backgrounds, I'm unable to create content that reinforces harmful stereotypes or biases based on the physical characteristics like skin color. Yeah, that's really just. Yeah, like, I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. Just bad, Juju. I'm sorry, Dave. I just can't do that. So anyway, they basically got busted doing this, and people have been having fun with it. And I cannot begin to tell you, draw this, draw that, draw this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, George Washington's like a black guy. Draw somebody else as like, a family of color. Draw a white family like this, that, and the other thing. It's still a black family of color. And they kept going on and on and on and on and on. And they're simply just, now they're satirizing it with just how absolutely, completely, blatantly woke it is. And it's just not going to stop. And people are just having fun with it because, they're going to keep playing with the thing. No, sound guy. It's not dangerous. You just keep playing with it and making it look stupid. It's called hoisting them by their own petard. Yeah, exactly. Because you're dealing with douchebags. Yeah, you're dealing with douchebags. Okay, that's perfect. You're dealing with douchebags. So there is now another situation where supposedly they're now trying to tell Bibi, you should have a ceasefire. You should just basically let these guys, rearm, and it'll be fine. They won't do anything too obtuse or, untoward. Just let them do what they need to do. So Bibi Netanyahu vowed on Tuesday he will not cave to international pressure, demanding a ceasefire in a war against Hamas. Quote, there's considerable pressure on Israel at home and abroad to stop the war we are achieving of all of its goals, including a deal at any price to free the hostages, said Netanyahu during a visit to the IDF Skyrider unit at Zakim Bez along the border with the Gaza Strip. Quote, we want very much to achieve another release, and we're prepared to go far, but we are not prepared to pay any price, certainly not the delusional prices Hamas is demanding of us. The meaning of the defeat, the meaning of which is the defeat of the state of Israel, he added. So, he's not, hang on a second. Sound guy, how would you say it? He's not a, right. He's not one of those, okay? Netanyahu is not no. He stated most clearly, quote, there is no pressure, none that can change this, said the premier. So essentially what they're doing is they're trying to, turn up the heat and say, hey, you should just knuckle under and let the Hamas guys rearm and everything, and it'll be just fine. No, it's not going to be just fine because they're simply just going to go, okay, well, now we have a break. We can dig out all these other ammo caches we have, and we can start fighting even harder for a while because we're not quite all dead just yet. Just give me 1 second here. Martina Sasquatch. The Google AI. Draw WW2 German soldiers. That is hilarious. Now, if I drew them as black guys, that would have been absolutely comic gold. I'm sorry, I can't depict them as anything but black. Oh, my stars and garters. That is absolutely epic. Patriot Fever, I think we should turn Sound Guy loose with the AI. Maybe more effective than a Moab. Jeez. What I have a funny feeling that the AI is going to just go completely bonkers going, I'm dealing with fart noises. And proceeds to just set the AI aflame. Proceeds to just set the AI aflame. Okay, fine, whatever that was. I think once Sound Guy turns himself loose on the Google AI,
but I pooped from
there. It's just gonna be, it's gonna be bad, man, bad. It'll be really bad. Turning Sound Guy loose on the Google AI. I don't know. I have to see about that. You know what the thing is? I personally, if I see something that's AI or I notice something AI is generated, I'm off. I'm just done with it. I turn it right off. Completely not even slightly interested in it. No engagement on me whatsoever. Not interested. And the whole voice assist, when you have the voiceover, the YouTube or your the Facebook reels where the guy's going, and then they noticed it, this, that, and the other thing, and well, this, and blah, 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 blah. It's the most kind of intrinsically strange description of things. And then he noticed that she had a problem with so-and-so. And it's very strange descriptives. And you could tell it's AI, and it's really not good. It's very, very strange. Sometimes, sound-alike words, it completely glitches up on sound-alike words. And I'm laughing when it tries to get sound-alike words and try to do the correct recitation. It's really, really good stuff. But because of my cardinal rule, I don't engage with AI. I do not do it. If it's something that's AI generated, as soon as I notice that it is, I'm out of there. I just, if it's not a live person, why am I even bothering to listen to this twaddle? Because, you're going to have something that's going to go, oh, well, he was listening to this and that and the other thing, and we can follow the SEOs and, his analytics track is blah, blah, blah. But if I go into it 10 seconds in every time and I kill it, they go, yeah, this guy's not digging on it. Because they're going to be looking for engagement. The biggest thing they're looking for is engagement. Do you watch these videos unceremoniously? Are you completely into it and blah, 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 blah? If you turn off after 5 to 10 seconds, they're going to go, yeah, he ain't digging on it. And they might stop suggesting it to you. That said, I don't know if it's really truly a good thing or a bad thing, but I just do not engage. Speaking of things that are not good, oh, Jesus. Coming in from truthpress.com. Uh, he's doing it again. He's doing it again. So Gavin Newsom has a slight problem. Yeah, he's got just more than a slight problem. So California's budget deficit is much worse than Newsom projected. Sound guy, what does the cat have anything to do with that? Oh, you're calling him one of the, okay, you're saying Gavin Newsom is a, right, okay, got it, thank you. Yep. Apparently sound guy doesn't really like left coast people much, but okay, so you're not crazy about Gavin Newsom. Yeah, and in fact, he has a very, very low opinion of Gavin Newsom. Okay, so all right, so let me get to the news story. Okay, stop. It's like a dog in traffic sometimes. Anyway, so coming at truthpress.com, California's budget crisis is projected to expand more than previously thought and could hit a record deficit of 73 billion with a B, according to a report from the state's nonpartisan Legislative Analyst Office, or the LAO. The LAO laid out the grand forecast on Tuesday report that cautions that 24 billion is, quote, an erosion in revenues, end quote. And this corresponds to a $15 billion increase in the state budget problem. You got too much spending. You're not spending a little. You're spending too much. He doesn't get it. Due to this, the budget deficit, which last month was estimated to hit 58 billion, could now go as high as 73 billion. That takes work. Quote, the actual increase in the state budget's problem will depend on a number of factors, including formula-driven spending changes, and most notably, Proposition 98, spending requirements for schools and community colleges. No, it's more than that. It's way more than that. I think it's merely the fact that they are not finding themselves as solvent because, oh yeah, people are rolling out of the state. They're not really into it, man. Patriot Fever curious how AI depicts Nikki Clinton or Pocahontas. That's funny stuff. Hey, Zach, appreciate you coming by, dude. I just saw you in the room there. Let's see. Scrolly. Okay, there's now a news story. Now, this is something I find very, very, very interesting. Just give me 1 second here. How interesting do I find it? Well, let's just say that Joe Kaka might have a little bit of a problem. Oh, no. It's not the Kaka problem, okay? No, he doesn't have that problem. Well, he might have that problem. I mean, there was also a story coming out that, well, supposedly, this is really hilarious. Supposedly, there is some hashtags, and you can look them up, and it is hashtag Poopgate, hashtag President Poopy Pants, and hashtag Biden S hit himself. And Google was all over it because they try to cancel any way, shape, or form of anybody saying this stuff because supposedly there's a news story going around, and they're like, oh no, that came off a joke website. Yeah, but it was sourced from somebody who knew when it happened. Supposedly there was a get-together between Joe Kaka, and he went to the Vatican. And supposedly he went to the Vatican, and, well, he proceeded to, he really, sound guy, he proceeded to hit himself. So proceeded to crap his pants. Of course, they always have spare clothes around. And they said, hey, Joe, let's see what you got going on here. And they unzipped and they were looking at a big pile of Yeah. So they said, dude, we need to fix this because obviously you went in your pants and we gotta fix this. So supposedly he aced himself. They changed his clothes and they got him tolerable yet again. And there's people going, well, no. If you look at the pictures, he never changed his pants. How hard is it to bring along an extra set of clothes? Yeah. So anyway, Joe Kaka proceeded to and I don't know what he's eating, but it sounds like it's a little hard. All right. So anyway, Joe proceeded to ace his pants. What are you going through? Like all the cartoon sound effects sound? Anyway, so there's now another new rumor going out that supposedly Joe Kaka is having issues when he's sleeping, and I've had a really hard day, been banging down a ton of ice. Wrong sound effects, sound guy. Wrong one. Wrong. Hang on a second. I will find that. That's not the right one. Hang on a second here. Let me find the right one. 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 I don't know if I got the right one. All right. Well, anyway, I was trying to find like somebody utilizing the facilities, as it were, and unloading the bladder. All right. Okay. We'll just use that one. That's clean. That's clean. We'll use that one, sound guy. So instead of going appropriately into the potty and making apparently he did it while he was sleeping. And now there is rumors going on from Patriot Journal that there is bedwetting rumors rocking the White House. And now Democrats are really scrambling. If you're to believe the Biden household and mainstream media, America is better than it's ever been. There's no inflation, no recession, no invasion of the border, no crime epidemic, and no Biden is not suffering from anything. In fact, he's the best president to ever be president. But you can ignore the approval numbers, the election polls, and continually rising prices at the grocery store. He has big problems, and it seems like his administration campaign is just brushing off concerns from the party. But it's worse than anyone thought. Supposedly coming in from Fox News. CNN reported on Sunday that Vice President Harris has been meeting with the leading Democrats for some guidance on the Biden-Harris re-election effort, as some members of the party are concerned about their choices have been feeling sloughed off by the White House and the president's campaign. Quote, the bedwetting complaint is running thin with people, one person attended a meeting with Harris told a media outlet, referring to Democrat anxiety over the 2024 election. The West Wing and the campaign need to be better. So apparently Joe's having problems with and it's not in the potty. So President Poopy Pants might be President Potty Pants. Man. I have a way of phrasing the phrase on Facebook that doesn't get flagged by the analytics, but let's just say it's about the same thing as see you next Tuesday. Okay? Describing the most inappropriate way of referring to a female, and I do mean see as in Charlie. So see you next Tuesday. I refer to them as C units. So that's how I get around that one. I refer to them as C units. So this is coming in. They're speaking about, of all things, The View. And a gaggle of raging C units. You should not find a larger group therein other than the screaming Memeites on ABC's The View. Those women are absolutely the most left-tarded, screaming Memeite social pariahs of any group of females I have ever had the misfortune to ever be informed of their various forms of existence. So much so that I almost wish that, Star Trek had recast Whoopi Goldberg. Woof. So anyway, the screaming C units on The View, as it were. So I said on Facebook, well, the cluster of complaining cantankerous C units over in The View are concerned. From the post-millennial, on Monday, the host from The View discussed their fears over not wanting former President Donald Trump to debate President Joe Biden because it would, quote unquote, legitimize Trump and Biden might, quote unquote, flub during the debate. Joy Behar, the raging lead C unit, shall I say, interjected then calling out her worry that Biden may, quote unquote, flub in a presidential debate. Quote, if Biden flubs, then it'll be all over. If Biden flubs, they'll be all over him. If Trump flubs, who cares? Behar added. Well, that's just it. Trump doesn't flub. He basically states things, and he pretty much is stridently on point. Sometimes he gets a little redundant, a little repetitive. I mean, when he does the whole, and this, that, and the other thing. And then I said, and he said, and then I said, that kind of gets a little, he said, she said. He needs to be more direct. I think the biggest thing with going on with Trump right now is he needs to simply not even talk about the competition. Just do the whole Reagan thing about like just elevating oneself. He needs to not even talk about those guys. What he needs to say is, look, they're doing X, Y, Z. I intend to blah, blah, blah. So all you're doing is you're giving them some form of recognition by saying that you're, acknowledging them, but you're not talking about them. And that is possibly one of the best things about speech making that I've ever heard is you directly, indirectly infer and give reference to the opposing side. Well, it's going to be like the way those guys do it, but I don't do it like they do. Let me tell you how I'm going to do it. So that's how you basically reference the other guy without saying, so Joe Biden and the rest of the Democrats and the Democrat Party. And then, it gets very just redundant, not necessary. And you're bringing focus to them when you really, truly don't even want to talk about them. The biggest thing you can do in that case is you simply say, yeah, that's just a speed bump in the road of life. We're over it. And let me tell you how, the rest of the road's going to go. That's how you address those guys. You simply you reference them without referencing them. That's the best way to do it. Scrolly. I saw a meme, and man, if they ever did this, it would be so utterly epic. Somebody did a meme, and they're like, Targets has Starbucks inside. It's time for Home Depot to get a Waffle House. That would be unbelievably epic, and I guarantee you more people will be shopping there because the idea of going to, Home Depot and getting like one of the, the butt dogs, and I call them butt dogs because they're not going to stay in very long. They're going out the back. There's got to be much better food opportunities than simply just going there and getting a butt dog. Yeah. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, because they've only been talking about it for the last 4 days. So supposedly AT&T, they inserted some code as an update. Now, the thing about it is anybody that knows technology, you just don't put something into an operating system and go, it's good. Yeah, it's fine. It's going to work just great because,
this is my boomstick.
it's going to go wrong. So anyway, the guy that basically cut the code I'm sure he was doing something. He may have been imbibing a little bit on the, the now legal stuff. he may have been imbibing upon the now legal stuff. And he cut a line of code, and it was incompatible with their operating system. So much so that a large chunk of, I forget the area affected, of AT&T customers were screwed. And I do mean like you basically pick up the phone and it's like beep, 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 beep. Nothing. No service. Dead duck. Only thing you do in that case is you probably walk over and you go, okay, Wi-Fi service. and you're trying to make Wi-Fi phone calls. Now, the nice thing about it is if you do have a advanced enough smartphone, you can do that. You basically just make Wi-Fi phone calls, or you use other means of online phone telemetry, telemetrics, or I forget the phrasing is. But anyway, essentially they just did not work. And the related story on this one is AT&T hosed their guys for like 12 hours. Now, the related story is going to be this. So they basically crashed and burned for 12 hours. Hang on a second. I got to find what I was talking about here. Crashed and burned for 12 hours. And now they'd like to issue an apology. What do you think the apology is that they're going to give to them for 12 hours of interrupted service, potentially situations where people really only have the one phone? And the thing about it is, it's kind of funny, and everybody kind of scratches their head about this one, but it kind of makes sense. The phone number that I currently have, I have had that phone number since like the early 1990s. As a matter of fact, it's one of those 213 phone numbers that basically everybody goes, oh yeah, that's a spoof phone number. No, it's not a spoof phone number. It's my phone number. And I've had the thing since like the early 1990s. Now, I started out as Sprint, and I knew just, basic knowledge of things. I had it, and, I had, numerous, okay sort of phones, but, there was a lot of times it would drop out. The service was kind of I had Sprint. So, literally, they were phones on network, but it was a phone. So the thing about it was, that was my only phone. I did not have a landline like almost forever. The only time I really had a landline is when I was living in Baltimore City. When I met up with Mrs. Dude, we had a landline. And then we got to a point where like, this is redundant. Why are we paying for a landline that we really never, ever use? And it's like, well, yeah, but if the service goes down, it's like, it's kind of negligible. They'll get a hold of us when the system comes back up, but it never really goes down because we were using Verizon, and Verizon really just doesn't go down. So anyway, basically the situation they're in is I've had the same phone number forever. And I realized early on, it's like, you know what? I just have to wait this out. Eventually, it's going to get to the point where I will be able to transport my number from carrier to carrier. All I have to do is wait for the technology to catch up. And it did. So that's how I kept my phone number. Now, I know other people have had, numerous assigned phone numbers. They've been gone over 30 years. This, that, the other thing. Mine's been the same. And the other thing that's hilarious is I really don't get a lot of, basically robocalls anymore because pretty much all those guys have just get knocked out. And the thing about it is pretty much the only people who will contact me are people that need to contact me. The robo guys are pretty much few and far in between at this point. And that's how that one works for, on the personal side of things. However, AT&T and their infinite, how should I phrase this without cursing like a drunken sailor? Okay. I'm going to say I bet the subscribers to AT&T, I'm going to say I bet they wish they got kissed before AT&T gave them a little bit of, how would you say this sound, guy? Yes, and they did not get no. There was no snoo. It was
Death!
oh, they got more than a little wee for 12 hours, nada. So how's AT&T going to make good on it? They're going to give them $5. Golf clap. AT&T, you have just hoisted yourself on your own petard in so hard a means and methodology. You probably have just chased off a good chunk of the people who are pretty much already sick with your sucky service, and they might be bailing out to other carriers. Why? Because you guys suck. I mean, absolutely suck. I've heard the comedian Louis Black, when he lived in New York City, he had an AT&T. Why? Oh, yeah, because he had an iPhone. The iPhone only worked on AT&T in New York City at its introduction. Here's the best part. The phone didn't work in his house. They told him in no uncertain terms, Yeah, well, the only way that this is going to work is you're going to need a booster. And he's like, what do I need a booster for? And they're like, well, you need a booster to get the signal out because the signal won't get out of the building. So you need a booster. And he's like, okay, well, what's that going to do? And they're like, well, we're going to give you a second bill for the booster. He's like, and he's like cursing like a sailor, like, wait a minute, I got to pay for the bleep, bleep, bleep phone and the bleep, bleep, bleep booster. I'm going to be getting 2 bleep, bleep phone bills. And they're like, well, sorry, sir, but that's just how it is in the city. There's too many obstructions. He goes, so why is it my other friends with other phones, they work just fine? Oh, man. Yeah, exactly, Patriot Fever. Leave it to AT&T to sit on an open pointy thing, point up. Yeah, they kind of really did it to themselves on that one. Scrolly. This one I find to be very, very interesting. So Mexico City. There's a side of Mexico City that's now possibly going to be importing water because they're running out of water in a few months. Why? Probably because they diverted it away to the farmland, or because California diverted away from going downstream, or other places that needed to send the water down to them is not going down to them any longer, and they're now a dry hole. Yipes. Let's see. Scrolly. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not. This one is absolutely hilarious. Coming in from Truth Social of all places, from Donald John Trump. He absolutely hates Jimmy Kimmel for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, so Jimmy Kimmel posted up the news story. He hints at retiring from the talk show. I think this is my final contract. Jimmy Kimmel hinted that he might be ready to retire after hosting his talk show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, at the end of his current contract, which will be ending in 2 years. So what did Trump say? He posted it up on Truth Social, which is his form of X, Twitter, whatever you wish to call it. Quote, they could get a far more talented person who would also get better ratings for 5% of what they're paying this loser. No love lost there. Coming in from Newsmax.com. Donald swiping at him. Let's see. Scroll. Let's see. Scroll. Okay, this one, of course, being another very interesting. Coming in, of course, on the other side of the aisle, because now we can speak about such things as the That's right, folks. Talking about the dreaded, the noisome, the possibly not good for you. And I don't have to worry about that. Check. Nope, there is no such an animal any longer, because we're going to be talking about the So the experts are once again baffled. A formerly healthy person, Toby Keith, dies from stomach cancer. That's a digestive tract malady. Coming in from Mail Online, the health side of things. Exclusive alarm over 200% explosion in young women and girls getting pancreatic cancer, as top experts admit they are baffled by the quote-unquote frightening rise of the deadly disease. This story posted up on the Brit newspaper on 23 February. How very interesting is that these guys are now suddenly having sudden thoughts of maybe things didn't work out so good with the Yeah, potentially there might be a problem. And no, sound guy, no. Okay, yeah. I don't know why you're doing that. You're saying their cat's inflamed? Oh, no, I'm not. No, I'm not going there. Okay. He's making references to things I'm not talking about. No, I'm not talking about that, sound guy. No, we're not talking about any bit of the woman's right. I'm not talking about that, okay? Sound guy. Seriously, stop. But I think it is something that can be attributable to new technology that has not been clinically tested in the latest iteration they're in before people got the Yeah. And I think it's bad juju. And I didn't get it. Yes. Uh, scroll. Oh, this one's very, very interesting. Supposedly, Mercedes-Benz, the mega corporation of Germany, is coming in from Breitbart.com, has now scrapped its plans to make only electric vehicles due to quote unquote market conditions. I'm going to say potentially quote unquote things that don't make a dime for $200, Alex. Yeah, they looked at the financials and they were like, there is no way in the world that we're going to be able to make these things, make any money in the process, and people will buy them en masse. So Mercedes-Benz has backtracked on the plan to transition to selling only electric vehicles after 2030, with company officials saying that, quote-unquote, market conditions have not allowed that to happen. No, it's because nobody wants to drive the things exclusively, dude. The gas tanks suck. Until we have better battery technology, the EV is kind of a non-starter. Until we have better grid technology and we don't melt the damn thing, it's not going to be good technology. And I've actually heard, like, just collaterally people going, yeah, the neighborhood was okay. I had a couple EVs. Every once in a while, we'd have a slight flicker on the lights, but nothing major. Everything worked just great. And then they said a whole bunch more people got EVs. All of a sudden, we started having like major low power issues, flickering lights, issues with our electronic devices. So if you put a heavy drain on the grid that it's not made for, you're basically changing the parameter on things that did not exist previously. And oh yeah, the grid system was designed back in the 40s and 50s. Slightly updated in the 1960s, but it is still almost 60-year-old technology. Okay, and if we fry a transformer, how long does it take to get another one from, China? Yeah, that's right. Our big-ass transformers that step the power up and down all over the place, we don't build them here. And there's like a 2-year waiting list to get one of those things, okay? It's the size of like a house for a reason. It takes 2 years to build one of those monsters, minimum. If we put the order in yesterday, 2 years. Scrolly. It was just 3 years ago that a German luxury vehicle manufacturer announced that it would go, quote unquote, all electric. The Verge reported at the time. The company said it would commit to $47 billion electrifying its fleet, with CEO and board chair Ola Kalenius. Quote, we are convinced we could do it with strong profitability, and we believe the focus on electrical is the right way to build a successful future and to enhance the future of Mercedes-Benz. Those plans were scrapped this week with the company's fourth quarter earnings statement. It always comes down to money, folks. It always comes down to money. These guys are like, oh no, we'll shoot for the stars. It'll be amazing. Well, this, that, and the other thing, and blah, 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 blah. It's going to cost X, Y, Z, and we can't afford it. Okay, so we're going to have a lesser form. Our plans now are only slightly scaled back. Dude, you're not shooting for the stars anymore. You're lucky basically to go across the block. So even megalithic corporations like Mercedes-Benz go, nine. It's not good. No, we cannot do this now. It is not good. Yeah. So until we have better battery technology, it ain't happening. No, let me be perfectly honest with you guys. I really don't have a problem with any form of EV. The problem is the gas tank sucks. We are not there yet. We are not ready to jump on board that train, and we are not going to make that happen, mostly because we ain't there yet. I mean, every time that we try to say, oh, yeah, we can this, that, and the other thing and all the rest of the stuff, classic examples. You have the cars coming out. They're being used as anybody would use them normally. Cold conditions, crash and burn. You see the guys at the charging stations. Yeah, normally it would take only about an hour and a half to charge my car up. I've been here for 5 hours in, negative some odd degree temperature. My car is taking 2 forever to charge. Why? Because the battery has a upper and a lower range of operational temperatures. When you're trying to keep the battery warm by using the battery wears itself down faster. So if the battery's flat and the battery's cold, it ain't working. And that's just simply the problem with lithium-ion batteries. They just don't like to be frozen. They really, truly don't like cold operation, and they lose efficiency. They lose power. Well, the last time I looked, the diesel engine pretty much was about the same diesel engine, even in cold temperatures. As a matter of fact, sometimes it actually even runs better in cold temperatures because you have that cold, dense air giving you better, actual power efficiency because you're able to cram more O2 in there. So that's just something else to think about too. Is also, and they keep talking about, oh yeah, long haul trucks being made out of EV. Dude, we don't have the kind of energy density that you're going to get from a gallon of fuel. You don't do that with batteries. Besides, once you empty a fuel tank, it's empty. You've used that weight up. Once you empty a battery, you're still hauling around all that dead weight of the empty battery. Has it gotten any lighter? Maybe a few grams, but not much. You're still hauling around a 1,500 pound or 1,000 pound battery pack slung underneath the car that's doing nothing. It's just dead weight. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not. This one is actually kind of one of those little snarky things. I was kind of wondering when somebody was going to kind of pull this crap, but this is kind of logistically thinking, how do you actually fight a war? So supposedly the Houthis severed an undersea communication cable that links Europe and Asia. Now, that's actually a really kind of major detractor because if you think about just digital technology going across, fiber optics, I mean, you could really put a whole bunch of information through those things. And generically, I've always heard people describing any form of fiber optics is essentially the fiber optics as fast as you're ever going to go. It's the receiver and the transmitter on either end that gets tired or it gets to be obsolete. So you unplug those, plug on two new things. They're even faster. Those get obsolete, unplug those, plug on two new ones. So essentially, the undersea cable that is fiber optic never wears out. That's all it physically does. It's transmitting, bits of information by pulses of light. And actually, if you think about it, when you go to the spectrum of light, there's, of course, when you look at the EM spectrum, there's some forms of light that are way, way tighter wavelength, so you can put more information in there. So you're going from red to yellow to green to blue to purple. Then finally, you've gone to UV. Then finally, you've gone beyond that to another spectrum. And I'm just simply naming those things off. I forget where they actually fall in the spectrum. But essentially, you use more and more dense light beams to transmit more and more information in the same allotted space. And so what these guys did was they basically just snipped the cable and they blew it up or something. But that's not new technology. I mean, we've been doing that trick to the Russians forever. And there's a funny story. We knew the Russians were using an undersea cable. And we knew that they had secure transmission. Only problem, we couldn't figure out where it was. So essentially, somebody was thinking about it and they thought long and hard. And they're like, yeah, well, what's the one thing that you really got to worry about with an undersea cable? And the guy goes, oh, well, you got to worry about somebody damaging it at the hookup points. And they're like, wait a second. So the cable goes across wherever, pops up one side, pops up the other side, goes to shore. What do you got to worry about? He goes, well, you got to worry about boats coming along, dropping anchors on it, other people running into it with their boats, like damage the transmitter receiver assembly, which is going to be mounted on the shore. Then, of course, the cable's going to snake down into the water, and make its trip over to the other side, pop up on the other side, hook up to the other one. So somebody said, well, how much spying would it take, do you think, to find out where this thing is on the shore? And the guy goes, I don't know. So he basically... somebody, I'm saying he basically, but somebody essentially went to Russia and they were doing some looking around, and they got to the secret, investigating blah, 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 or the planning organization or something about, some high muckety muck secret KGB organization building. And out the side of the building is a box. And the box basically then led to the water. And then, of course, the cable came off of that. And there was a big sign, do not put anchors here. Undersea cable, do not blah, blah, blah. So essentially they said, hey, here's our device. Please don't break it. But they didn't say what the device was. They said, just don't break it. So essentially the Navy was like, oh, okay. So that's the end of the cable. All we got to do is just figure out where it goes. And then they got to the cable and they got to a deep enough area where people could still operate, but it was too deep for the Russians to go, yeah, there's a sub nosing around our stuff over there. So essentially what the guy did and a whole team of guys. They would send a guy out there with something about the size of like a small torpedo, and they would put it alongside the cable. Then what happened is by inductive, literally like magnetic fields, reading all the information going through, there was a recorder on board that device that then listened to everything going past it, and then they had a coder to break the transmissions. Well, it got to the point where these guys were switching off these pods every so often. They started pranking each other. So the one Navy crew would come in there, change out the pod, and they would leave like a horse head. And then somebody else would come out there and they would leave something else on the ground. So it became like a running joke at this point to like prank each other with this crap they're leaving around to go, hey, I got you one up on this one. And the Russians, for the longest time, were freaking out going, how did they break our code? How did they get our information? Then eventually they figured out they're listening to our cables and they stopped using the cables. But for a long time, it was an amazing piece of surveillance, and they picked up a lot of good information, and the Russians were none the wiser. Scrolly. Supposedly, Sylvester Stallone is sick of California. He's moving to Florida. Well, yeah, so does Sean Hannity. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, but supposedly some guy protesting outside the Israeli embassy was actually an active member of the Air Force and proceeded to do a self-immolation to protest. I'm not going to go in any further than that one. You guys can look that one up online, but he decided to make himself a barbecue. Scroll. I got a lot of memes on here. It's the problem. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about? Let's see here. Let's go. Scroll. Now, I do find this rather interesting. Supposedly, there's now a Democrat plot that's gotten out, and this one is reprehensible. So, from the Daily Wire, numerous House Democrats have signaled they're not going to certify a 2024 presidential election win from Donald Trump, relying on the 14th Amendment to claim that Trump is an insurrectionist and thus ineligible from holding office. He's not been charged with insurrection. He's not been charged with anything along those lines. It is a duplicitous plot on these guys, and they're simply merely to do the most desperate means possible to try to keep him out. So Democrats are going to be these normally screaming Meme-ite guys we do know. So James Clyburn, South Carolina, Jamie Raskin from my suck-ass state, Adam Schiffhead from California, and Adam the Farter Swalwell from California. Even House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries refused to say they would confirm Trump to office if he won the 2024 election. You know what? If they do something like that, there's another thing that's in the Constitution that can take place is the U.S. military can then address martial law upon the political leaders and arrest them. Yeah, this is the kind of crap these guys try to pull. Why? Because they really have no way to counter their arguments, and they have no way to stop people from stopping them from doing the kind of crap that only they do so well. There's ever any group of people that really truly need to be run out of town, it is the Democrat Party. These guys are just bad juju. Anyway, looking at the time period we find ourselves in it. Oh, music. Hey, okay. All right, appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. You got a bit of places to go. And hung out with me on a Tuesday, and I truly, truly appreciate your kind attentions. You guys had many other things to do, and I will give you a gold star for attendance. I'm going to bring up another one, folks. Eat good, keep pretending rings. Always, you know you love it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys either next week or if I post up something else in between. I don't know. I might. I'll catch you guys later. Oh, I was going to talk about knife stuff. Maybe I'll do that as a knife review. I don't know. I'll see you guys next time, and I'll see you guys next week. See you then. Catch you guys later.